Okay, great. I think we can get started in a little bit. Hello, everybody. I'm so incredibly excited to be here today with all of you and with our partners, March for Science and Peace Boat US, on this UN World Oceans Day discussion. This year's theme for World Oceans Day is Innovation for the Ocean, and we are very pleased to bring together three wonderful young ocean innovators for you guys today who are doing incredible work. My name is Brittany, and I'm with the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. We are a nonprofit organization with a mission to empower youth ocean innovators all over the world by supporting their ideas and their businesses and projects. And we are working towards creating solutions to the threats that are facing our ocean today. Today's event is around youth and specifically climate action around our ocean. And I'm very, very happy to have put this together with my two wonderful colleagues, Rania from March for Science and Emily from Peace Boat US, both of which are organizations which have also strong youth-focused programs. And we're so grateful to have you both here. Rania from March for Science will be moderating today's discussion. Please do feel free to ask questions. You can see the Q&A button at the bottom right corner of your screen. So at any point during today's panel, please enter your questions into that box and we will be taking them towards the end of the event. So with that being said, thank you so much all for coming, and over to you, Rania, to welcome us.
Thank you so much, Brittany, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart, youth activism and involvement. And I oftentimes say there's this notion out there that young people are the leaders of the future, but the truth is, and you're all going to see very, very clearly, and you all know very intimately, youth in this country, States and around the world are already leading, and we're reminded of that every single day, and not the least of which are the three amazing panelists we have with us from our three organizations today. So we're very, very excited to have y'all here, very excited for all of you joining us virtually. And further ado, because you are not here to listen to me talk, I am so excited to introduce Mark Haver, who's the SOA leader and YPAC chair.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Rania. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen because I do want to share a presentation with all of you today. I am so honored to have this opportunity, and I wanted to say thank you so much for this coalition of organizations to allow me to speak on an issue about which I'm so passionate. So first of all, my name is Mark Haver. I'm 21 years old, and I'm originally from the United States. I went to Florida Southern College, where I graduated on 2 weekends ago. So I'm freshly out in this world, and currently I'm working full-time for the Florida Democratic Party. I've always been involved with Sustainable Ocean Alliance since 2017, and I think that going chronologically through my involvement with SOA is the best way for me to describe the incredible organization that Sustainable Ocean Alliance is and how it's furthering youth engagement across the world. So 2017, the summer of 2017 was actually my first year of college. I just had finished my first year, and I had an internship back at my home in Maryland with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. In one of my first weeks of my internship, my boss let me loose, and it was fantastic. She let me go to the Capitol Hill Ocean Week. This is an incredible event where people from all over the United States really come together to discuss how we can have positive ocean action. And typically has a focus with national marine sanctuaries, and it was a great first exposure to really what the ocean climate sphere looks like. At my school, I studied the intersection of the environment, policy, and communications. And so for me to hear Daniela Fernandez, the CEO of Sustainable Ocean Alliance, talk about how she wants to use youth to advance policies that advance the environment by using amazing tools like social media, I was absolutely hooked. It was an incredible introduction to the type of power that we as youth can hold. And from there, I knew that I had to get connected with Sustainable Ocean Alliance. After pulling Daniela aside during a quick break between one of the sessions, I asked her, what is this amazing organization? I have heard about some of the opportunities of which you spoke on stage, and I need to know more. And Daniela did an incredible job of sort of guiding me throughout the whole process. And one thing that I must say about Sustainable Ocean Alliance is that it has always been an incredible place for mentorship. And so after Daniela and I connected in, I guess, June 2017, I followed up with her throughout the summer. I followed up with Sustainable Ocean Alliance, and I even created my own hub on Florida Southern College's campus. So what is a hub? A hub is basically a chapter of Sustainable Ocean Alliance where young ocean leaders across the world can have their own solutions to the local issues that their campuses, that their communities may face. Sustainable Ocean Alliance has 50 plus hubs all over the world, ranging from Uganda to Peru to Australia and even back in Florida. And I was really absolutely enamored with the fact that I could sort of bring all these incredible conservation tools, all of this marine excitement back to my campus. Even though I was at school in Florida, we were still an hour and a half away from the beach, and the concerns over things like plastic straws was not nearly as evident as I wished it was. But because of my partnership with different organizations on campus, including student government and resources from our amazing community managers at SOA, we were able to transition our school from plastic to paper straws. And that's one of my favorite legacies that we'll ever have at Florida Southern, and I'm sure it's a legacy that is connected throughout the world. Later in 2017, I had the opportunity to go to the Our Ocean Youth Leadership Summit. Every year, there's an amazing conference called Our Ocean with incredible speakers like John Kerry, Sylvia Earle, the president of Palau. And for me, as a 19-year-old at the time, to be able to be in the same room as those people, to talk about solutions, how to fix our ocean problem, how to make sure that we're building a community of ocean leaders, that was an absolutely incredible experience. And here you can see just the absolute caliber of the people that I got to stay in the same room with. It's not only just an incredible type of way to connect and network, but these are experiences that you never forget. And going to Malta was pretty cool as well. And that's the amazing thing, is that SOA offers so much support for young people that are trying to get more connected with ocean policy. They give you the tools to do so. They can allow you to meet the people that will really connect you. And they have been able to do that for me for years now. Another amazing aspect about Sustainable Ocean Alliance is their connection to the ocean economy, to a blue economy. And so earlier in 2019, I was invited to join the Accelerator at Sea cruise in partnership with Lindblad Expeditions and National Geographic to Alaska. This was probably one of the craziest 3-month periods in my life. I just finished a summer internship in Hawaii. I just got asked to go on a surprise trip to Israel by this incredible organization. And I had just finished orientation in my 21st birthday for my senior year at college. And then to be invited on this incredible once-in-a-lifetime trip to discuss how we can build an ocean movement, not just among ocean leaders, not just among young people, but using tools of the free market to do so, was an incredible experience. I mean, you can see the wildlife in this photo. It's absolutely jaw-dropping. And it was also the conversations in the cruise ship itself that made me so positive, so optimistic for what our future looks like. So what is this accelerator? So SOA every year chooses a handful, or more than a handful, of organizations and businesses that are sponsoring ocean solutions. Everything from alternative plastic material to ocean internet connections to drones that will be able to patrol our seas. The solutions that SOA has chosen seem to be endless, and the fact that they're able to provide them with a monetary backing has been an astonishing feat, and it's really been able to show us how quick we can actually achieve some of these ocean solutions. And not only was just that general Alaska cruise so cool, but it was something that has definitely been a turning point in my own life. With conversations with Daniela Fernandez, with conversations with these people who have led these incredible startups, it really made me realize that we have all the type of momentum we need to build a larger movement. Back in 2017, when I heard Daniela talk at Capitol Hill Ocean Week about using social media to build a youth movement to support our oceans, that fire was still in me, even in 2019, and is still in me today. And sort of to discuss the ways in which that we can make the most out of these opportunities, whether they be through these free market solutions to ocean issues, whether they be through a tool like social media, whether it be through hubs scattered across the world, all the energy we need is there. And it comes down to just being able to coordinate and organize us together so that we as youth can really make a difference. And another one of those ways in which we can always connect is the Our Ocean Youth Leadership Summit. I also got to go to Oslo in 2019. And one of the coolest things about this summit was I got the opportunity to work with people like Emily Mcglone on this webinar on how to create a global Blue New Deal. We saw these incredible climate strikes across the world in September 2019. And that was something that showed me how lacking the type of energy we need for the ocean. Unfortunately, the ocean isn't always a large part of the climate conversation, even though it's our single largest tool to mitigate a changing climate. And so we wanted to take this knowledge that we have, combined with these amazing solutions, combined with these incredible ocean leaders, and be able to transfer that into something that can create a standard across the entire world that sets pillars and principles for what we need to see in a healthy ocean. As youth, we are the greatest stakeholders in the future of our environment and the future of our planet. And if we are unable to rise up, unify, and promote solutions that are going to promote a better tomorrow for all of us, then unfortunately, we need to do more. Because this is one planet, this is one ocean. We have all the solutions. And once again, if we can create something like a global Blue New Deal, if we can all engage together, then the world will be better for it. And I think something that was also really, really fantastic that we've been able to engage with recently is the Youth Policy Advisory Council. So not only has SOA just generally been supportive of youth, but as they build their own policy campaigns, they want there to be specific ocean leaders who can provide feedback on where to take these campaigns. And so the Youth Policy Advisory Council is composed of 9 global regions. We really try and crowdsource from every region, because every region is affected by the ocean, to get their feedback on policy campaigns like a moratorium on seabed mining to a global Blue New Deal. In fact, we have a call this Sunday upcoming to discuss our sort of key objectives that we're building for each policy campaign. These experts that we have on our Youth Policy Advisory Council have shown us what it means to be a community leader. Each one of their own initiatives at home has sparked massive change. And as the chair, it's my responsibility to be able to transfer that change into something positive on a global platform. Sustainable Ocean Alliance has been an incredible opportunity for me to connect with so many of the ways in which that we can develop a youth focus and engaging in 21st century policy. And it's also shown me the importance of global engagement and making sure that the voices we hear are diverse and inclusive. With that being said, I couldn't imagine my life without SOA and the incredible opportunities that have been presented to me. And one quote from the Our Ocean Youth Leadership Summit in 2019 in Oslo has always rung in my ear. The First Lady of Palau spoke to us, and she always told us that it was the duty of our generation to leave it better off for the next generation, and that we all have to play a helping hand in making sure that we always create a better tomorrow. And I think I'm going to end on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mark. I just love your energy and enthusiasm and all of the amazing things that you've done already. And no doubt there's going to be so much more. Do me a Mark and unshare your screen if you would.
Oh, totally. Sorry about that.
No worries. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce a dear friend of mine and the person who keeps the peace boat train going, if we can call it that. Can you call a boat a train? I don't know. I just did. Emily Mcglone, who is the director of Peace Boat US and just does some incredible work. I had the pleasure of meeting her in Madrid, and we just hit it off right away. And you very quickly realize that she is a true ride or die sister partner in the effort and in the cause. So Emily, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Rania, for the introduction. And again, thanks so much to Sustainable Ocean Alliance for hosting this webinar with us for the United Nations World Oceans Week. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. And I'm so excited to see lots of youth joining from all around the world, from San Francisco, from Egypt, from the UK, from Tennessee. It's great to see people joining in with a passion for the oceans. And I'd love to share a little bit about our work with Peace Boat. It's a very global organization. So I'm also going to go ahead and share my screen. And we have quite a lot of things I'm going to share with you all today. We're going to start with our Peace Boat Ocean Leaders. And I'm only going to speak for just a few minutes because I do have one of our Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassadors who is with us today. So I'm excited to introduce her as well. So we're going to go here into full screen so you all can see the presentation. This is the Peace Boat. This is our organization. We sail on a ship that is holding about 1,000 participants as we travel around the world. The Peace Boat started in 1983 by university students, so it's a very youth-focused organization. And we have been sailing the world for more than 36 years, visiting over 100 ports of call every year. So we do have quite a global focus, and I'd love to share a little bit about how our organization got started. Peace Boat's a civil society nonprofit organization with a focus on peace, education, and sustainable development. And we use a ship because we believe that the ship creates a neutral mobile space that enables people to connect across borders. And building those friendships from country to country was really the beginning of Peace Boat's purpose. Here you will see also that we have different routes around the world. So Peace Boat's main office is based in Tokyo, Japan, where we also work with the Sustainable Ocean Alliance hub as well. Some of our previous volunteers on the Peace Boat actually started the hub there, and we're really excited to partner with them to continue the work in Asia. I myself am based in New York City, and we have an office in the United Nations Plaza. So we're pretty different as far as what our offices do, whereas the main office in Tokyo is organizing these global voyages. We take the different routes you can see on the map here from the red line all the way up into Northern Europe, into the Baltic region. Sometimes we take a central route, which is kind of more passing through the Suez Canal and over through the Panama Canal. And then sometimes we also go south and go all the way down to South Africa and over to Brazil, Argentina, and Patagonia. So we try to visit different regions as we're traveling around the world. As I mentioned, our main purpose is peace education. And so we do this by bringing on guest speakers who give lectures and workshops throughout the voyage about important global issues, which could be about human rights, obviously sustainability, also looking at indigenous issues, youth leadership, and culture. We talk about all different things related to the countries that we're visiting as we're traveling around the world. And one of our main focuses, because we are an organization sailing for the Sustainable Development Goals, is looking at SDG number 14 for life below water as we're sailing on the open seas, and education, SDG number 4. So we do this with our partners and raising awareness about all these different issues. And with that, also promoting responsible tourism, because we want to leave every place better than where we found it. We believe that travel in itself can be a tool for positive social and political change. So inspiring action and working with local partners to highlight the issues that are most important to them. On the side of our ship, we have the SDGs logo painted on the hull. So everywhere that we sail, we are raising awareness and sailing as a flagship for the SDGs. We work in partnership with the United Nations SDG Action Campaign, and we also have a scholarship for young people. So what I really wanted to share with all of you today is actually that you can apply for this Youth for the SDG scholarship. We'll be organizing our next voyages in the coming months, and we'll be opening the scholarships, I'm sure, in the end of 2020. So we look forward to having any of the SOA youth leaders apply. And our other programs that we have are also the Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassadors, who are working specifically from small island developing states and sharing their issues that they're learning about being on the front lines of climate change. And we know that as a ship, we need to be sailing in a more sustainable way. When we listen to the stories of our ocean youth, when we visit the countries all around the world, we realize that climate action is one of the most important things we can focus on as an organization. And with that, we have created the EcoShip. So the EcoShip project is to build the world's first eco-friendly cruise ship, which will use solar and wind power and rely mostly on renewable energy to reduce our CO2 by 40%. Peace Boat believes that we can set an example by being a more sustainable organization. And so we're doing that with our EcoShip project and also with our youth leaders. And I would love to invite everyone to visit our website, peaceboat.org, for more information, and to visit also the activities that we have on the SOA website. This is just the beginning of the World Oceans Week, and we have so many different events coming up where our youth are going to be sharing their stories and where you'll have a chance to learn more about Peaceboat in the coming weeks. And next, I would like to introduce our Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador from Trinidad and Tobago, Khadija Stewart, to share more about her experiences and to tell us a little bit about her experience with Peaceboat, as she joined us last year for the UN World Oceans Day and is now one of our 2020 Ocean Youth Leaders. So I'll pass it over to Khadija.
Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here and honored to be on this platform to share my story with everyone. I am Khadija Stewart from Trinidad and Tobago, a Peaceboat Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador. I joined last year for their 101 voyage. We sailed across Europe and then ended in New York, like Emily said, for World Oceans Day celebrations. And we had 7 other youth ambassadors from small island developing states: Tuvalu, Palau, Fiji, Singapore, the Seychelles, St. Lucia, and Montserrat. And it was really eye-opening for me connecting with these young people from small island developing states. Because as you know, we are the most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. And being able to share our stories, to connect with one another, it was really eye-opening because we realized that no matter where we were in the world, we all had the same story. We all had the same problem. And Peaceboat gave us the opportunity to go out there and share our stories and to help wake up the world and understand that this is a serious problem and that we all need to take part in moving forward. For me, my most memorable moment on the Peaceboat was when we had several guest educators come on board. So we had Brandon Levy from Sustainable Ocean Alliance, some of you may know him. We had Jeremy Gilly, and what Brandon did for us was he spoke on the importance of our well-being. If we are not mentally, physically, spiritually sound and able, then we can't go out there and be the best leaders possible. If we don't believe in our mission, in our goals, then we can't convince other people to believe what we are saying. So that was something that really stuck with me. And also Jeremy Gilly from Peace One Day, he really focused on being able to accept hearing no. And as a young person, you know, we are so ambitious and we all want to go out there and make change, etc. But we face so many hurdles and you get discouraged. But Jeremy really instilled in us that don't be afraid to hear no, don't be afraid to fail. It just means you need to regroup and come again. And that was really inspiring for all of us. One of the other most memorable moments on the Peaceboat for me was World Oceans Day celebrations in New York. So I had the opportunity of visiting the United Nations headquarters in 2011 with the Young Leaders Program. And I was so excited to go to the United Nations headquarters and be there. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. You know, I'm at the UN. And I promised myself that one day I'll be back, I'll be making change. You know, I'll just be doing something. I wouldn't just be present at the UN. And then was last year, 2019, I had the opportunity to return to the UN to witness the opening celebrations for World Oceans Day, to be greeted by so many incredible ocean leaders. And then later on, I had the opportunity to share a panel with Daniela Fernandez from SOA, on young people and our work and how we can use our tools to move forward and progress change. So yeah, that was my Peaceboat story. It was an incredible experience. It honestly changed my life and opened up many doors. I wouldn't be here today sitting down presenting for you guys if it wasn't for Peaceboat, and I am truly grateful for it. And it's also where I learned about Sustainable Ocean Alliance from Brandon. So yeah, you know, can't wait for that. What else? Oh, right. So I am, again, as I said before, Khadija Stewart, and what I do in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where I'm from, I founded my own company, Eco Vibes Environmental Creatives, and we do several outreach activities, educating children, young people in general, just raising awareness of the issues that exist in Trinidad and Tobago and how they can take steps to move forward. And my specialty is land and water management. And I have also hosted several cleanups. It will be beach cleanups, or it will be cleanups of like our popular hiking trails, which leads to, you know, fantastic rivers or waterfalls. And these activities really show the state of our environment and how we need to do more to take care of it. And that the problem that exists in the world today is us. We are the problem, right? So the outreach activities is one thing, but at the end of the day, people need to understand why the plastic on the beach is a problem, why having several oil spills is a problem, etc. And this is where I decided to create my environmental blog. This was my tool. I see myself as a good writer, and this is what I use to get the word out there. So I've actually written a blog about oil spills that were taking place in Trinidad, and we've had several severe oil spills. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago is next to Venezuela, South America, and we've had an oil spill that was so huge that the oil reached to Mexico, right? So that's insane, right? And nobody was really paying it any mind, paying it any attention, because again, for the ocean is something that is out of sight and that's out of mind. So people don't really pay it any mind. So this is where my blog came in. I raised awareness about the oil spills. I have written about unsustainable construction on our beaches. I've written about the toxic relationship we have with plastic waste. And moving forward, this year I started a new series, something more positive, called Green Voices of TNT, Trinidad and Tobago. And what this is to highlight young people taking action in the country, being agents of change. For many people, we don't see ourselves being represented out there. So it's like, here I have all these great ideas, but I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how to move forward because representation is limited, especially where I'm from in Trinidad and Tobago. So with my blog, I have shared these stories so people can relate and say, no matter their journey, no matter where they are in life, if this person can do it, then I can do it as well. And that's exactly what I wanted to do with my blog. And for my upcoming projects, I am working on a documentary called See Our Seas. And this again is to raise awareness of what is happening to and in our oceans and how we can move forward to protect our oceans and to protect the blue economy, because for Caribbean islands especially, a huge percentage of our livelihood depends on the oceans. And if no one is protecting it, if no one knows what's going on, if people aren't aware, then how can they feel the need to care or take action? So that is what I wanted to do with my documentary. And I'm also working on a children's book called Anna's Eco Adventures. And this book is to connect young people to nature. Generations now are growing up disconnected to the environment. And for example, one of the scenarios in my book is a child driving to the beach, and on her way, she's looking out the window and she's looking at the trees, she's looking for birds, she's really connecting to nature. It's not just a drive from point A to point B. So that's really what I wanted to do with my book. I wanted to show young children, hey, this is the environment and let's care about it, right? And my message for all of you all listening out there today is that the only way we are going to move forward and create change is if we equip ourselves with knowledge. You know, knowledge is power. There are a lot of trends going on out there. There are a lot of buzzwords flying around, and people don't really understand. You know, we are the specialists in the field, so we understand the language, we understand the jargon and whatnot. But for other people out there or at the grassroots level, when you say things like sustainable development, it's like, yeah, they've heard it, but they can't really visualize it, or they don't really know what it is, right? So for us, we need to be the example. And for us to be the example, we need to know what we're talking about, right? So we need to be knowledgeable and not just follow trends. We really need to follow research And it does not have to be in the traditional sense. So for me, I'm currently completing my second master's in climate change and development from the University of London. My first master's is in sustainable development and management studies. Now, I took a more traditional route, but now, presently in 2020, there's so many opportunities for us to educate ourselves that we really have no excuse. And there's really no need for us to fall into, I would say, slacktivism, or to fall into, the need of just following the hype, following what's new, and not really knowing what it is we're talking about or dealing with, right? Yeah, we are all part of the problem, and moving forward, we really can all be part of the solution. And that's where I would like to end off. And I'm once again grateful for Sustainable Ocean Alliance to give me this platform to share with you my story and to encourage all of you all to go out there and be agents of change.
Thank you so much, Khadija, for so many important reminders of how we're all connected and how we're all connected to oceans. I think it's very easy, if you don't live in a coastal community or a small island developing state, it's easy to think, oh, that doesn't affect me. But you've brought to the forefront in such a beautifully articulate way, everything is connected. We are all connected to the water. We are all connected to the ocean. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And I want to remind everyone that in the bottom right, toward the right of your screen, if you have a question, you can just click on that Q&A bubble and type your question in there. Brittany is doing an amazing job sort of helping us organize the questions and all of that. So please feel free to pop down there, the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen to submit your question. Next, I didn't failed to introduce myself properly when we started, but I am a senior advisor and interim executive director of March for Science. So our next speaker and presenter is somebody that I work very closely with. He is the youth engagement director for March for Science. And as many of you know, we really have, as much as we're centering so many different things, we are very much trying to center youth voices. And so Chet Monday is really leading that effort for us at March for Science. And I am so proud to introduce him today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, SOA, and thank you for everybody watching for tuning in today. I'm so excited to be here. And let me share my screen really quickly so you guys can see what I'm up to. So thank you again, and hello. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. As Rania said, I am the Director of Youth Engagement with the March for Science. So I'm kind of in charge of how the March for Science as an organization interacts with the youth movement and other youth leaders around the world. So to start off, the mission of March for Science is to advocate for science-informed, evidence-based public policies. And my personal mission within the organization is to amplify youth voices within the movement using the March for Science platform, whether it's streaming them live to our Facebook page or including them on a panel for our Earth Week events. What I want to do is direct traffic to their initiatives and campaigns because they're happening, but oftentimes not many people see them. So more specifically, we focus a lot of our work on partnerships and what that can do. Especially concerning oceans. One of our major campaigns, the first one I'll talk about, is our international campaign called Science Not Silence. Now, we launched the Science Not Silence campaign back in December at COP25 in Madrid, and it's in partnership with the Samoan government. It was launched at COP25, as I said, and what it does is it calls on governments around the world to publicly embrace the IPCC 1.5 degree report, raise climate goals to reflect the IPCC 1.5 degree report, and then create partnerships and policies to achieve success. So this is something that affects island nations and oceans worldwide. And it's very important because a lot of our governments are not listening to the science. They're actively blocking the science. And that's something that has to change if we want any hope for our oceans and our island nations and our coastal communities. Also, we are so proud to partner with the UN Development Program on their project called Mission 1.5, where they have actually gamified the IPCC report so that it acts as a survey, so they can learn more about communities around the world and what they're facing and how they can improve sustainability and resilience within their communities. Another great partnership and campaign that we're so excited to have announced on Earth Week with Valerie Jarrett, Senior Advisor to President Barack Obama, is the When We All Vote campaign, and it's the safe elections. So this is super important to me because as much as we can have initiatives that raise awareness and education around oceans and climate, we have to act on it. And at least in America, as our national campaign, we're so excited for this partnership because it gives us the ability to advocate for safe elections, an acronym that means safe, accessible, and fair elections. Especially after what we've witnessed this weekend in the state of America, it's so important that we vote because we have a broken system right now and we need to change that. So hopefully through increasing use of mail-in ballots, online voter registration, and extended early voting, we can achieve those goals and really change the system that we're living in. And that is the When We All Vote and March for Science. So please visit that bit.ly right at the bottom there, and you can join us now. And lastly, I just wanted to say that, oceans have such an important part of this organization, and especially youth from all over the world, from island nations, as they are frontline communities when it comes to the climate crisis. And part of that is previously at the March for Science Media Zone, we've partnered with the Island Resilience Forum to bring those voices straight to your computer so that you can hear those live frontline discussions and direct traffic to the initiatives that are happening all over the world to increase resiliency in these island nations. And with that being said, thank you so much for having me. And please visit our website at marchforscience.org where you can sign up to be an organizer, engage in some of our campaigns, or just learn more about us.
Thank you so much, Chet. Wonderful job. The only thing I will add to is as an organization, this is the first year in the US where there will be more youth who are of age to vote than there are what we call baby boomers. And so this is a opportunity to really drive who is representing us and making sure that they are listening to science and that they are pushing science-based policies. So it's a huge opportunity, and we are very, very grateful to be partnered with When We Vote to really engage youth, empower them to utilize their voice, and then also to really start centering folks that are running who look like the rest of the country and are truly interested in representing us and representing science. So thank you so much to everybody and for all of the amazing work that you're all doing. Just one more quick reminder, just to utilize that Q&A button down at the bottom right. If you have any questions, please submit them there. I am going to just jump right into some of the questions that have been asked. For Emily and Khadija, who represents Peace Boat in Brazil?
Sure. Well, thank you. We have a lot of our youth ambassadors and youth leaders from our Sustainable Development Goals Scholarship Program who are from South America. I wouldn't say we have one particular representative in Brazil, however, so you can always reach out to us here in the New York office, and we're happy to coordinate any activities in Latin America. I'll put my email also in the chat for you all.
Thank you so much. And here, Chet, what is the role of March for Science and their focus on youth engagement during this time, especially as it relates to electoral work and science?
That's an absolutely great question. Rania, I'm sure you're going to want to jump in on this too. But just to start off, as I mentioned at the beginning, my mission is to amplify youth voices and initiatives around the world. So I think what I've said in March for Science and what March for Science has shown is that we're committed to broadcasting those voices from wherever they are in the world to our community and communities around ours, so that they know what initiatives are happening, what campaigns are going on they can contribute to and support. Specifically with the election and electoral politics, we're so excited, as Rania mentioned, the first election cycle where more, I think you said more, right? Youth now eligible to vote than there are baby boomers. And part of that is going to be using that youth platform that we've created and continue to cultivate as the basis and building blocks for those field organizers and wonderful folks on the ground that are going to be doing the work to get out the vote and ensure that we have safe elections. And as they're wrapped up in that process, they'll bring their friends, they'll bring their graduating classes, and hopefully we'll mobilize an entire generation. Rania, any other thoughts on that one?
That was perfect. I think I already covered it, and I want to make sure we get to more questions. That was great, Chet. Thank you. Next question is for Khadija. You mentioned non-traditional teaching methods. Do you have some favorites or any resources that you would like to mention or share?
Okay. So for me, I am currently very much addicted to documentaries. I think that they do a great job, and I'm also a visual person. So that's where I got a lot of my knowledge from. But you always have to be careful when looking at documentaries, because you always have to do research on who is doing this documentary and what is their goal. So it's important to not just stick to one form of non-traditional, but let's say you watch a documentary, okay, follow up with a few journal articles or follow up with a Google search, you know? So that's, to me, what I like to do as it pertains to non-traditional. But again, I am doing my second master's. So, I mean, I am as traditional as it gets.
Thank you so much, Khadija. Thank you. And great point about doing research. Documentaries are so amazing. There's so much incredible information out there at our fingertips, but being diligent and doing our research is so important. So wonderful reminder. Thank you. Mark, next question is for you. How do you think SOA bringing youth and policymakers together will make a difference for your generation's future? And what do you see happening now in your youth community that you would like to see changed?
That's a really great question, and it's a big one. And I think actually Chet mentioned something that's really relevant to the news cycle right now. And that's that in America, a lot of stuff is happening, and we're seeing like violation of human rights, which is really disturbing. And on the other hand, we're also seeing incredible youth engagement in politics. We're seeing incredible, just a shift toward a more democratic system with the way in which people are engaging with this. And I think that the movement, Black Lives Matter, is not just applicable to the criminal justice and police brutality that we find in the United States. I think that the movement, Black Lives Matter, is actually relevant to the climate crisis. I mean, my generation, we are the most globalized generation we have ever seen before, with the internet, with social media, with transportation becoming more and more accessible, even though still unequal. It's allowed us to really become the most multicultural generation that the world has ever seen. And I think that while that's all great, I think that too often we in developed countries have found it too easy to ignore the size of our carbon footprint and how our climate impacts really negatively. It really negatively affects the most vulnerable. And these are the poorest people of developing countries, and they're non-white. I think that by calling out the way in which that the privilege based on where we live and our wealth, the way in which that shields us from so many of the negative climate catastrophes. Meanwhile, Black and brown people all over the world of the global South are saddled with the burden of the consequences of a changing climate, even though they've contributed least to it. And I think that it's in the spirit of multiculturalism, it's in the spirit of the most globalized generation of youth that we can really start to see some positive change. I think that the way in which the SOA has engaged with this starts with policy campaigns ranging from seabed mining to the global Blue New Deal. I think that it's really important that when we start to sort of push these movements worldwide, that we're incorporative of diverse and inclusive voices. Because if I'm the only voice representing the entire climate conversation, then that's not representative of what's really happening for a lot of people. You know, in 2017, I was fine. I was going to college. Yeah, I had to evacuate because of hurricanes, but 40 million Bangladeshi people had to move their country because of climate-related monsoons. And if we can't talk about that as youth, if we can't represent that anger and that anguish in our conversations with the decision makers, then we really need to do a lot to elevate the voice. We need to do a whole lot to elevate the action that's behind some of the policies that we're advocating for. We as youth, once again, are the greatest stakeholders, and we should remind the people in power that we are the greatest stakeholders, that this is our future, that we know what we're doing. There's no need to patronize us. There's no need to condescend us. It's important that we can take all this energy that we have as youth across the world and join in solidarity to say that the climate impacts that we're facing, yeah, we're going to recognize that they're unequal and it's causing inequity. But however, we can do a lot to redress it. And once again, it's that inclusivity and diversity of voices when you're coming to bring to those policy campaigns that's really going to shift the focus in a positive direction with youth.
Thank you so much, Mark. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's fantastic. Thank you. I want to just continue this a little bit. And Khadija, I'd like to bounce over to you and just talk a little bit about the current socio-political situations and how you think young people, excuse me, can be more inclusive and promote social justice through activities, climate action. Like, what is your biggest, where do you see the biggest gap, and what do you think can be done?
Okay, that's a very loaded question. As you mentioned, social justice, you know, right now the world is heavy. It is extremely heavy. Just last night, I found myself lying down in bed crying, just thinking about everything that was happening, from coronavirus, from the racial injustice taking place in the US, and it's now showing case, you know, throughout the world, from the uprising of Ebola to natural disasters. It's just so much going on right now, and it's easy to feel gloom. It's easy to feel negative. It's easy to feel that there's absolutely no way forward. But like Mark said, you know, we are all connected. We are the generation of multiculturalism right now, and we have the biggest tool possible, and that is social media. One of the reasons the Black Lives Matter movement has picked up so much is because of social media. It's because of Twitter. It's because of Instagram. It's because of those hashtags, you know. And with this tool of social media, we can use it for good. I mean, things that go trending, Taylor Swift, etc. Yeah, okay, that's entertainment, but there are so many important things in this world that we can bring forward with social media. We can use it as a tool for advocacy. We can use it as a tool to raise awareness, and we can use it as a tool for, most importantly, to connect and come together for a global cause, which could be climate change, well, which is climate change, which is the oceans, which is water for all, which is food for all, which is clean air for all, which is, you know, social equity and equality for all, right? And again, as I said before, one of the best ways we could do this is to really equip ourselves with knowledge, because it's very easy to be fooled out there, and people will fool you if you don't know any better. And not just equip yourself with knowledge, but listen. You also have to listen to those at the forefront. Like Mark said, as US being a developed nation and contributing to climate change impacts, etc., at the global south or with underdeveloped nations, etc., you have to listen to those voices and hear what's going on. You can't be in your own bubble and think, oh, well, yeah, climate change exists, but it's not affecting us, so it doesn't matter. No, that's not the case. Just like how now with this movement, you know, you have to listen to the Black people and understand their stories. You have to listen to the people at the forefront of climate change. You have to listen to the people at the forefront of being affected by the oceans, which is the fishermen, which is all the people who livelihood depend on the oceans, you know? So moving forward, again, we really need to be knowledgeable of all the situations going on out there, and then we really need to sit back and listen.
I just was nodding emphatically. I don't know if you can see it. That's so spot on, so important. And I think the listening part is really, really important too, and just the uplifting of voices. I'm Palestinian. Both of my parents immigrated to the U.S., and I often times have it's like yelling into the wind when it's just me. But when we come together and really, really uplift our voices together and help amplify each other's work and help spread information, truthful information, obviously, as you so eloquently pointed out, Khadija, it's amazing what we can accomplish. And those are such important reminders. Thank you so much. Again, thanks for everything that you're doing, because it's hugely, hugely important. I'm gonna bounce back over to Emily. There's a question on how about plastic reduction on the Peace Boat, and if there's recycling happening, and I know y'all have a whole protocol and system, but would love for you to just talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, obviously, plastic pollution is one of the biggest challenges we're facing with ocean conservation, and Peace Boat is definitely taking an active role in reducing our plastics overall. Last year, during our United Nations World Oceans Day celebration on board the ship, we also partnered with the nonprofit organization Oceanic Global, and they have the Oceanic Standard. So for anybody who's out there listening that's interested in ocean plastic and how to reduce that, whether it be in a company or in your small business that you're starting just now, or even just in your daily life, they have different Oceanic Global Standards that you can kind of use to see how much plastic you're using and find ways to reduce that. So last year we had the Ocean Champion standard on board the Peace Boat, which means we didn't use any plastics on board, and we're trying to reduce every day in all the production methods as well. But I really recommend checking out Oceanic Global's the Ocean Standard, and then also for Peace Boat in the future, we're working towards totally going plastic free, and for the eco ship to set an even more positive example for climate in the ocean. So it's an important topic for us, and we hope that we're not going to be the only ones at Peace Boat. We hope that all the other cruise lines will follow suit, and we'd like to set an example for the entire maritime industry, and that would have real impact on a global scale.
Yes, absolutely. Love that so much. Thank you, Emily, for all that you're doing too. We have a question here that I would love anybody who kind of feels they want to jump into this in the last few minutes that we have here about the tourism industry. And the question is, what can we do to make the tourism sector more aware and more responsible to protect and save our ocean? Emily, it's kind of the perfect segue because you started off. Are there other things that y'all have in mind that y'all have seen as an inspiration, or that maybe is already being done and is working and could be expanded? Would love thoughts on that. I know on my end, I don't know if y'all have heard of the Samoan pledge, but basically it is when you step foot on the land, your passport gets stamped and you have to sign this pledge saying that you will not harm the land, the waters, that you're gonna leave it as it was, if not better. So there's been conversation, I know, around expanding that to other nations, but would love to hear from y'all anything else you've seen or heard or are working on.
I have a thought or two.
Awesome.
So I think that much of the conversation surrounding tourism also necessitates discussion of travel and how unsustainable that is. I mean, maybe at this point with the COVID-19 quarantine, going to my local mall could be considered tourism, but more likely than not, you're going to need to get on a train, a plane. There's going to be something that's going to be carbon intensive that requires you to go from tourist destination to tourist destination. One of my sort of biggest concepts that I grapple with every day is how we can live in a world that allows us to make decisions that harm other people. How can we be handed down unethical choices for us to make? If I want to go to France, if I want to go to Trinidad and Tobago, I have to hop on a flight, and that's going to release more carbon into the atmosphere. And yes, I can do some offsetting, and that's always a little tricky with how that's actually worked in history. But I think the biggest thing is that if we're going to live in a society that's going to require us to be a part of this in a realistic fashion. Of course, you can have incredible leaders like Greta, who are literally sailing across the ocean, no carbon, everything like that, but that's not a reality for a lot of people. And I think that in bringing us a more sustainable and accessible world, then we have to really push for that sustainability as a part of our system. We have to make sure that we're promoting solutions and technology that are low carbon for transportation. And I think that when we lobby for those types of situations, that when we ask for more funding for research and development into those types of situations, that'll help transition us into a more sustainable transportation and tourism industry.
Thank you so much, Mark. And just to close us out just this last couple of minutes, I would love for each of you to just remind people where they can get more information, where they sign up to get involved. Mark, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I actually just put some information in the chat. So I always think it's so important to just talk to anyone. And if you ever want to reach out to me about anything, whether it's creating a global Blue New Deal, getting involved with Sustainable Ocean Alliance, volunteering for me at the Florida Democratic Party, anything, I'm always happy to chat. And you can contact me at mark@soalliance.org, and it's in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Chet?
I have followed suit. My email is in the chat as well. If anybody has any questions, further thoughts on collaboration, ways that you want to support, I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you're looking for more information on March for Science, you can visit our website, marchforscience.org. Also in the chat to look at all of our initiative, campaigns, blogs, and otherwise.
Thank you, Chet. Khadija?
So if you're interested in joining the Peace Boat or want to learn more about the work that I'm doing in Trinidad or that I intend to do globally, you can follow me on EcoVibes. That's ECOVYBZ. I'll put it in the chat. EcoVibes Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere. I'm an open book. I don't discriminate. Message me. I will definitely respond. And my Gmail is also ecovibes@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Khadija. Thank you to all of our panelists and to Brittany and SOA and Emily and just all of our partners for making this possible today. And for all of you who joined us, and I believe somebody had a question about this being replayed or getting the recording, and it is going to be on the SOA YouTube channel. So you can always come back to this and check it out again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending, and thanks to our ocean partners for joining together.
Thanks, everyone.
This will be available on our YouTube channel as of tomorrow. So if anyone missed it, you will be able to check that out there. Thank you.